All right, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Is everybody okay today? Wonderful. Thank you for coming to the Intern Yourself into a Career workshop. We are very happy that you're here. I want to say a little bit about internships and how important they are, but first let me introduce myself. My name is Pam Cooper. I am the Assistant Director for Professional Practice here at the Career Center at Illinois State University. We are very, very pleased to be able to talk with you guys today for Career Week kickoff. Internships, let me tell you a little bit about them. They are very, very important. I don't know how many of you have had internships, but if you've had one, if you've had two, that's good. Employers today are looking for students or candidates for their organizations and their businesses for more than one internship. It's very, very competitive out there. Internships are very good in letting you know what you want to do with your career, helping you to apply what you know from your academic background to what you want to do. Internships are also good for letting you know what you don't want to do. So you have to take advantage of all those opportunities. Employers seek candidates with more than one internship. Internships let you know how to participate in the workplace. It lets you know what goes on in the workplace. And again, the flip side of that too is when you come back from your internship, it allows you to apply the knowledge that you've learned to your internship, from your internship experience to your academic background. So I'm going to be very brief because we don't have a lot of time, but we have a panel and Layla is going to introduce the panel to you. Again, we thank you for coming, and we'll let Layla introduce the panel and introduce herself as well. Thank you, Layla.
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. We are really glad that you're here. We have a great turnout. And my name is Layla Hell, and I work as the Professional Practice Graduate Assistant at the Career Center. So I work directly with Pam Cooper. Internships are great. It's a very great way to market yourself. I'm not going to get too much into details into it because they are going to talk about it. But it's also a way to network. And we know nowadays networking is the key to that full-time employment. So I'm going to use this time to introduce our panel. And we do have Amy Gzezik, and she is a public relations major. And she worked with the Chicago White Sox Radio Network. And we do have Kyle Cummings, and he worked with the White Sox Training Academy, and he's a business administration major. And then we have Lauren Neely, who is also she's an elementary education major, and she worked with Mother Goose Daycare. And we also have Steve Urbeck, who will be coming shortly, who worked with City of Lockport, and he's a marketing major. So we're going to have the chance to hear a little bit about their own experience, what are some advice they want to give you. And it's going to be about a time for you to listen to their own experience and then ask questions. So as they will be presenting, after their speech, you can ask a couple of questions. And then at the end of the panel, then you can have the big Q&A session. So you can go ahead and have the floor, Kyle, and start to talk a little bit about your experience.
Sounds great. So I'm gonna.
Sure.
All right. How's it going, everybody? As Layla mentioned, my name is Kyle Cummings. I'm a senior business administration and management organizational leadership. Major here at Illinois State. My internship was with the Chicago Bulls White Sox Training Academy. It's located in Lisle, Illinois, which is a southwest suburb up by Chicago. My internship there was probably one of the best experiences I've had and one of the best summers I've had. Personally, to me, it felt like it wasn't even an internship and that it wasn't work because I loved going there every day. It was great. I didn't mind staying at all. The way it worked there was with the general summer interns, there was two kinds. You could either be a router or an in-office intern. Personally, I was a router, so I was responsible for a lot of our inventory management, keeping track of our T-shirts, basketballs, hats, certain things we gave out in the camps. So we had to manage a lot of that and get everything ready for the camps that we coach for younger children, which is the main thing that the training academy does. It's all about, the summer's all about our summer camps for children. During the year, there's a lot of fall teams, winter teams, basketball and baseball. They have leagues in-house. It's a great facility. So as I was saying, I was mostly in charge of managing our inventory and getting everything ready for the camps and making sure that they ran smoothly with no problems. Our in-office interns did a lot of coordinating with the different park districts because we had camps in cities all over the Chicagoland area, even some in Indiana. So they were responsible for coordinating that, finding out how many kids were going to be in each camp, if we're going to run the camp, cancel it. So there's a lot of coordinating with them. There was also marketing internship. I personally was not part of that. That was a different sector. And there was also sports performance internships. And again, I wasn't part of that. But it was a great experience. It really taught me a lot. As it was mentioned by Pam and Layla, networking was a big thing. It really helped me meet a lot of different people. I got to talk with people such as Bobby Jenks, pitcher on the White Sox. I also got to help train Sheldon Williams, who was a basketball player at Duke. He's now signed with the Denver Nuggets, so that was a great experience for me. I got to help train him. And it also gave me a lot of coaching opportunities as well, which is something that I really want to look into getting into. So it was great getting that business background and also the coaching background as well. So like I mentioned, it was a lot of fun. I loved being there. I didn't mind the different hours. One main thing that it taught me, and that probably most internships will teach you, is about flexibility. You were always on your toes. You always had to be ready for anything. Anybody could ask you to help you with something at any time. So that's the one thing that I learned that was really important. You could be working on one project, but something big could come up and somebody could ask you. And you just had to be ready to do that, and you had to know how to do things like that. So it was a lot of fun. I loved it. Is there any questions?
I've got one. So, flexibility is very, very important in the workplace, right? That's
Yes,
what you learned.
Definitely.
How do you think you can take that flexibility back to your studies?
You just got, like I was saying, you got to be ready for anything.
Okay.
Here at school, I mean, personally, I take 5 classes every semester trying to graduate. So you got to be flexible in knowing when you can do stuff, when you have different projects due, when you have different tests, your studying time. It was a lot about time management as well, which is very important in your studies and in my internship as well.
Thank you. Time management.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Kyle. We have Amy now.
Hey everyone, my name is Amy Grezik, and I am a senior public relations major. And my internship over the summer was with 670 The Score, the Chicago White Sox radio station up in Chicago. And it was probably the best experience I've ever had. And I know it sounds trite, and you might not believe me, but it was amazing. I obtained the internship by talking to my internship coordinator, who you all should become best friends with your internship coordinator when you're in your respective school. I emailed him constantly. I talked to him, called him. I was annoying, I'm sure. But he helped me out so much. He got me a contact at the Score, and I emailed her, and I got an interview. Over spring break, I interviewed, and a couple weeks later, I got it. So I was in the marketing and promotions department, and the Score, like many other radio stations, there's a programming department, and which is more like the on-air stuff, and then there's the marketing, and there's also sales in order for the station to make money. So I was in the marketing department, and what we were in charge of doing was working all the events. And obviously, since we're the White Sox station, we do lots of events for the team, but also for the on-air people. In the summer is their busiest time. So we worked, but there was 4 of us interns and 3 full-time staff members. We had probably 5 events a week, and so us interns worked about 40 hours a week. So it was a full-time job. It was a full-time job, unpaid unfortunately, but you sacrifice that to have a great experience. It was phenomenal. I met great people. I learned a lot about just radio in general. And I had a previous radio internship spring semester last year, my junior year, at WGLT Radio on campus. And I never really thought radio was my thing, but I had one internship, and it really opened my eyes to I love radio, and I love sports, and that's what I wanted to do. So logically, I went to sports radio. So it was really fun. It's a fast-paced environment. You learn a lot. You meet a lot of great people. Ultimately, I would love to work for the White Sox, so my bosses are all going to help me when I graduate, and I made those connections, and I worked really hard, and they're going to help me in the future. So you know, you work hard, you sacrifice your summer, you know, like he was saying, like, you know, you love it, but you don't really have a summer, like you're working. You have to be flexible and unfortunately work a lot of hours, but it's fun. Like if you love what you're doing, you're going to have a great time. So I had a great experience, and I think everybody should get an internship at a place that you really love. You know, don't just get an internship to get an internship. Make it the place you want. Like, strive for what you want to do, because if you're at a place you love, you're going to have a great experience. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Amy. So we can hear from Lauren now.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Lauren. I'm an elementary education major. That seems kind of weird because a lot of people have around the same majors, but typically education majors don't have professional internships because we have student teaching and clinicals and things of that nature. But I received a scholarship from the state. It's called Golden Apple. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it, but we have to do a series of internships and institutes every summer. Our third summer was to find our own internship, whether it be paid or non-paid. I decided to do mine with Mother Goose Daycare, which is right down the street from my hometown in Flossmoor. It was a paid internship, and I also got paid for my scholarship, so it's kind of nice. But basically, when I went there, I was hoping that I could just help, like just watch the director and see how she ran as far as picking the curriculum. Because it was a daycare, it's not a full-time school, and it was the summertime, you had different sections. We had a pre-K, which was the baby room, and that was, you know, from infants to like 1, I think. And then the classroom that I had was 3 to 7-year-olds. And then there was a summer camp portion that was all of the kids until, I guess, high school. One of the things that with education, with it being so underfunded or not having a lot of money, it's a lot of cramming. So I had 30 kids in my class. Originally, when I started the internship, I was an aide. I was under the teacher. The teacher actually went out on sick leave, so then I had to take over the class as far as writing a curriculum. Because it wasn't a summer school, I did more so planning different activities that would be somewhat stimulating to their mind, but also be fun because it was summertime. I had to do a lot of different things as far as organization, making sure students with different allergies and things of that nature, making sure they didn't have anything that would hurt them. So I had to take on a big planning aspect as far as education, and I also had to worry about other needs, which wasn't what I expected when I originally took the job. I definitely enjoyed it because I got to work around kids like in a different atmosphere than what you do here at school. Like, you kind of have to sit in the back and observe students, but because I was their teacher, I got to be around them. I got to know them personally. Through that job, one of the parents there actually was trying to start her own daycare center. So I ended up working with her. I helped her write the plan and the mission statement for her daycare center. So I guess I can kind of say I helped found a daycare center, which is very interesting. Just getting the information on, you know, because I feel like a daycare can possibly build into a school. So I learned a lot about just developing your goals and being able to, you know, bring that into fruition, especially with children. You got to have a lot of goals and drive to be able to do that because you don't work off a lot of money, honestly. So that's why it was a blessing that I got paid twice. I would definitely say I worked, like everybody said, I was supposed to work 10 hours a week. I ended up working 40 when the teacher had to leave. So I was there from like 8 to 5, just about. Sometimes I worked over. I did things outside just to make sure the kids could have stuff. But all in all, it was a wonderful experience. I feel like I took away much more than what I expected, which is always good. You know, I really didn't put that much into it as far as like brain power. It was fun. Like, I didn't have to go research. It was just something that was innate. And I think that, like Amy was saying, like, if it's something that you love, like, it doesn't matter. And I had just had the best time. I actually want to do it again, but I have a minor in psychology, so hopefully this summer I'll be able to do something with that. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Lauren. And then we can hear from Steve.
Hi, everyone. Well, I did my internship with the City of Lockport, which is the city government for Lockport, Illinois, which is one of the suburbs of Chicago. Mine was kind of a more of a unique twist on the internship experience. My major is marketing, and then I have a minor in urban studies. And with that combination, I plan on going into urban planning and pursuing probably a graduate degree in urban planning afterwards. In order to get some good experience in the field, though, that's why I worked for the city government, because I was working for the city's planning department. Now, in a city that size, a planning department is not very large. My department was the head planner for the city, an assistant, and the secretary, and myself. So a lot of my work was not designed as like any of these people that went to a large corporation or a large business and they had internship work. Mine was, you're in the door, here's some work to do. Like I was working on actual projects that the city said, we need these done, we just don't have enough time to have these done. So again, I would probably echo a lot of their sentiments in saying that you need to be very flexible and ready to work. Being part of the city planning department, a lot of the work that you do is a lot of the work that other city departments don't know what to do with, so they kind of just shuffle you all the random tasks that the city has to do. So you have to, again, be flexible and be able to kind of take on any different kind of project. Projects that I had were things like a small public relations campaign for their downtown district, because they have a small historic downtown district that they valued very much and were trying to promote. They were also in the process of trying to, like, again, revive the downtown, because it had kind of fallen into decay. And they were slowly trying to create a marketing campaign for the downtown as a whole, as opposed to just the historic district. So I was actually working with a local man who had started his own marketing firm in the city, and we were slowly compiling data on the downtown buildings and about to launch a major marketing campaign by the time I actually left, because it was only a summer internship. So I would say most of my work in that aspect was gathering data for them, but it was quite rewarding at the same time. I met a lot of very interesting people doing the city planning, because you run into, again, doing different projects, you run into several different groups of people. I went to several city council meetings. I've met all the city council members. I went to a lot of different local organization meetings, all that have value in their city, whether it be the 4-H club or the Boy Scouts, or a local historic district that's trying to keep an eye on the architecture for the area. They all have very different perspectives on what they see in their city and what they would like to see in the future. And you have to be very take care that you're not, say, offending any of them or any of their needs, because what may not be important to you is very important to them, hence the existence of their group. Say the other major responsibilities were there was a lot of, again, day-to-day tasks. As being part of a planning department, I'm not sure if any of you are interested in such, but there's any time that there is anything being built in the community, it goes through us. Any large subdivisions being put in, any business development, all the designs and everything has to go through our department. In an area, it was in the southwest suburbs of Chicago, that's an area that has been experiencing a lot of growth in the last several years prior to the economy tanking. So it's a very busy area, very busy. I've really enjoyed it. Again, the idea behind this one was you had several different tasks being thrown at you at random, is whenever a client happened to walk in the door. So you have to be ready to take on any given project in addition to what you already had. Echoing again their sentiments, the internship was planned for about 15 to 20 hours a week, and it had turned into a full-time job. So again, it's not a huge surprise, as it sounds like, to have a full-time job out of an internship. In a field like this, to break into it, it's all about the people you know. A lot of your first jobs come from references from your old city, if you're going from one city to the next, or if you're going to a different division of planning, because there's a local and there's also regional planning. So quite honestly, getting to know several different people in this field through the different things that I attended were very valuable, and I've been using those to kind of move my career ahead as I look forward to graduating in December. I think that's about it.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
So as we heard, they all had a great experience. They learned a lot about their internships. and they were able to make a connection between their internship and their future career. And that's what we all want to do. So we're opening the floor now for questions. I believe we do have questions. We have interns from different areas. You were more into sports, more into education, and more into general city, right? So I believe that we're going to have a lot of questions for them, and I do have questions too. So go ahead and start. Feel free.
You said that the internship originally started out as like a part-time type of deal, but it turned into a full-time thing, working 40 hours a week. Were you able to get some type of part-time job on the side to get some type of money coming in, or how did you balance that?
Well, me personally, like I think all of us were saying, like the internship said, mine said 15 to 20 hours. His said the same thing, but I walked into it knowing my schedule was going to vary week to week. Like that was just my particular situation. Like if there was an event, I knew I probably couldn't. I didn't get to take days off very often, and it was hard to have a job. But I did have a job back home that I occasionally worked at. Like if I knew, because I got my schedule like 2 weeks in advance, and then it would be like every 2 weeks I'd get it. So if I knew I had a day off or something, I would try to plan accordingly. But for my particular situation, at least, it was pretty difficult. So, it is a sacrifice. And I know, like, my internship coordinator used to say it all the time. He was like, you have to sacrifice your own, sometimes making money if it's going to help you in your future. It is just one summer. It was 3 months. I didn't make much money, but I mean, it was ultimately, in my mind, worth it, even if it was kind of like a crunch. But I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
Well, because mine was paid, I didn't have to worry about that. But I did have to take a summer course, so I was working 40 hours a week and then taking a summer class, which is kind of like a job. I burned out. I'm just gonna be honest. Like by the end of the summer, like I didn't want to work. I didn't want to do anything. So like actually this summer, I decided I was just gonna. I'm actually in SGA. I'm student body vice president, so I had to fill some hours here at the university. So that's all I did because I didn't have a summer because I worked and did the internship. So I mean, if you want some type of just time to relax on your break, I wouldn't recommend working if you can't find a paid internship. But I know sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. So I mean, it's gonna be tough, definitely. But I did it, and so you can do it. It's just not.
See, to chime in on that one, I did have a part-time job while I was doing that because again, as she mentioned earlier, like your hours do vary quite a bit from week to week. So there were weeks where I actually went down to 15 to 20, and then there were weeks where I was up to 40. And so on those weeks, I did hold a part-time job in a neighboring town. It was, as Lauren said, it was quite the juggling act, though, especially for working. It was working for a retail store, and they tend to plan their schedules farther in advance than just a fluctuating city schedule. So it was tough to find hours, but I was able to find them, where I could. I was actually playing the juggling act between three things because I was doing a retail job, the internship, and I was running a grassroots campaign out of Chicago. So it was a lot. As she was saying, you can burn out very easily doing this kind of stuff, but it was stuff that I really loved doing. All three of the things I was doing, I really enjoyed doing, so it didn't bother me so much, and I was ready to go.
Personally, mine was also a paid internship, so that helped me out a lot. So, I mean, if that is something that you may be worrying about, you could look for a paid internship. I mean, there's no guarantees that it might be, but I know personally that helped me out a lot because I didn't have to worry about trying to get a part-time job because I was doing my responsibilities at my internship and getting paid for them as well.
Other questions?
Well, one of the things that I hear here is that the internship is valuable, whether it's paid or unpaid, and that's very important. I do understand the need to get paid. I work every day too. But that the value of that internship is what I'm hearing all four of them say, whether it's paid or unpaid, is what's important. And I know that in some fields, particularly in yours, there may not be paid internships. But what you'll want to think about is if there are some, where are they? And the Career Center can help you with that resource, of course. So, questions? Do you all not know what to ask, or what? You don't have any questions? Who's had an internship? Nobody? Okay. Who wants one?
Great. Good.
Who has to have one that's required in their major? Okay. And even those majors that don't require internships, it's a very good idea to seek them out. As you can hear from our panel, it's going to give you that competitive edge, and it's going to let you know what you want to do. As I said earlier, it'll let you know in your field, in your area, those things that are important in your academics as well. We have some questions. Layla's got one, I know, coming right up. And so maybe as we talk, perhaps you all, don't be afraid to ask questions.
So my question is, beyond the general job description that you had with the company, were there some other expectations coming from your employer in terms of behavioral expectations, for instance?
Well, I'll take that one to start. Well, working for the city government, and it was very much you were acted to act in a very professional manner at any given point in time, I think, as would be expected from most jobs. But as working for a city government, you were issued an ID by the city. You are essentially an employee of the city, and you're expected to act according to the same handbook that everybody else does, and uphold the same, mission statement and everything that they have. So, if you're not ready for it, it can be tricky. But I think you have to be on your best behavior at all times. As opposed, some people think it's it's a part-time job that you can banter around. A lot of people bounce from part-time job to part-time job, but you have to take this very seriously.
I'll say for mine, when I was in the office, because I had split time between working in the office in downtown Chicago and then working events like in suburbs, in the city, like all over the place. So when I was in the office, it was very professional. I was doing a lot of work with station listeners and just general office work. It was professional. But out at events, I had to wear shirts like this. It was much more casual, and I had to be very personable and interact with listeners. So it was I was two different people in my internship, but it was fantastic. I learned a lot about interacting with people and the expectations of promoting a station. You're wearing a shirt and you are that station. You are that company, that organization. So you have to be able to change your behavior and fit the mold of what they want, whether it's in an office or outside. You have to be flexible with that.
Mine was actually a little bit flipped from that. At the workplace, it was actually a little bit more relaxed. I know our dress code every day was just you could wear a Bulls or a White Sox t-shirt and some athletic shorts or khaki shorts, and everybody was really comfortable with each other, and there was joking around, but everybody was obviously professional and got their work done. But then if we had special events, we had to wear attire like this, be on our best behavior. We had some events at U.S. Cellular Field. We had our tournament championship games for our basketball tournament at the United Center. So obviously there you had to be on your best behavior, and you couldn't be caught screwing around or joking around or running around the arena, things like that. You had to be professional at all times there. But in the office, it was more relaxed, but also professional at the same time. So you did have to kind of fluctuate how you would act.
Mine was very strict. Because the state of Illinois comes and checks to make sure that everything is up to date within daycares, we had so many stipulations. Our teachers wear business casual clothes when they come to school. I had to wear scrubs. Which I'm not a nurse, so that was something that I was like, I have to buy these to wear every day. So since I worked 5 days a week, I had 5 different pairs of scrubs. And my kids was like, Miss Lauren, you always wear those. But scrubs are expensive, so I really wasn't factoring that in. But we had to wear that basically because we had a baby room, and anytime we had to switch out of that, we just had to be as clean as possible. But we couldn't leave the grounds. That was something I wasn't used to. Once you were there, they buzzed you in, you were there, your breaks, everything was there. Occasionally we would go out for lunch or order out lunch, but we never had any out of the office type things because it is daycare. So I wore scrubs all the time. But it worked because I didn't have to wear I didn't have to buy clothes to wear there. So it was cool wearing uniform. It wasn't that great, but I dealt with it. So yeah, it's all right.
So we can all see that it depends on the industry, it depends on the firm. There are different expectations in terms of dress code. So you would like to make sure that you check with them what they expect from you. You can also use your observation. You can see how people dress around. There are some places where you have to be very professional in suit every time you get to work. There are others that are a little bit more flexible, like Amy's and Kyle. And again, there are others that are a little bit more business casual. So you would like to always make sure that you are flexible enough to adapt within that environment. And that can be done by talking to them, by observing them. In terms of behaviors, there's a commonality everywhere. You can see that everybody is expecting from you to act professional, to act as an employee, because when you are with them as an intern, you are considered an employee, even if you're an intern. So they're expecting you to act and behave to the best of your ability and to try to sell that brand, to bring out that brand of yours that attracted them when they were hiring you for that internship. And if they hired you, it's because they believe that you have what they're looking for. So you want to keep that because that's what they took, that's what they hired. And you want to keep it throughout your career because most likely there might be an opportunity for you to get a full-time job with them. So you need to always keep in mind that the behavior that you're displaying at work is really the brand that you want people to remember. And that's what you should keep throughout your career path.
One of the things that I would also point out, because you all will be at the internship fair on Friday, next Friday, correct? Yes? Yeah, say yes so that the mic can hear you. Yes. There you go. Speaking of professionalism and what you want to do, of course, you all will go to our website, you'll research the companies that you're looking for, that you want to intern at, but you want to dress appropriately at the internship fair. Because the company might be a sports company, might be a school, might be the city, you still want to dress appropriately because remember, first impressions mean everything. And so you want to be able to be professional. So when the recruiter meets you and talks with you, they can immediately see that professionalism. Okay? That's just a tip for the career fair or the internship fair or both, because we're having both.
We know you all have questions in your mind. Just feel free saying. Just feel free.
We're family here. Speak up. It's okay.
Yes.
Steve, you said you work with the city. Did you meet a lot of the contractors, the general contractors for the buildings that were being developed in the suburb or
I personally did not, because that was more of the job of the city planner herself. We didn't necessarily meet the architects. We met the firms that had designed the layout of the subdivision. We didn't. When it comes to the design specs of the building themselves, that was handled by the building department, which was actually downstairs from us. But when it comes to the design layout of the community, that's where the planning department comes in. But our two departments definitely do work in conjunction with each other, as you might imagine.
Do we have any education majors in here? Okay, what's your question?
Well, I think I'll get more answers at the internship fair.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay. You'll get more answers? So you have some questions? Yes, I'm putting you on the spot. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. I'm doing it in a good way. It's all right. How many marketing majors do we have in here? What's your question?
Regarding marketing?
Mm-hmm. Regarding the marketing internship.
What kind of a job profile we have to be a marketing intern? Because I come from engineering background.
Okay, what kind of job profile did you all have to have? When you've had your resume, what was your objective for the marketing majors? What was your objective when you planned to go to the internship fair? To obtain a position in what?
Well, I'm not a marketing major, but I did have a marketing internship. And really, my objective was simply to, just make a positive impact at a company that I really liked. And that was my main goal, was just to find where I wanted to work. So I think that's of utmost importance. And then, look at the job description and see if you're qualified. I knew I was qualified despite it being a marketing internship. So I researched the position, the company, and I wouldn't have applied if I didn't think I was qualified. So don't get necessarily maybe even hung up on like this has to be like a marketing internship. If it's something similar but has similar job description, you could do that too. So definitely just look for that.
Do you require a marketing background for that? Because I have an engineering background, so I want to do a marketing internship. So
I think probably what you want to do, and you can jump right in there too, but you want to think about what your transferable skills are. But I'll let Steve jump in there because he wants to.
I'll echo Pam on that as far as the transferable skills are concerned. Again, looking at the different skill sets that you've developed through your engineering program and seeing what different skill sets you can transfer into a marketing background. Also, when looking at if you're trying to move into the marketing field, skill sets that you definitely need to emphasize on are your communication skills, as well as just kind of general people skills for that matter. A lot of marketing, I found there's two different versions of marketing in a majority sense. There's marketing that most people think of in a traditional sense where you're working for an advertising firm and you're creating advertisements for the mass market or a specific company. And then there's marketing where it's more like a public relations type position. And that's kind of the marketing that I'm actually more interested in. That's the marketing that I got more of an exposure to at my job. And that requires just, again, are you a very personable person? You may not be of a marketing background, but if they enjoy your personality and they think that you've got something that they can offer to the company, there's no reason why not. I went into an urban planning internship with a marketing background, and they enjoyed having me mainly for the set of communication and people skills that I had.
And I will say too, like, it is all about, how you are, your first impression in the interview. Like, that really does make a difference. If they like you and they know you have the skills, you will get the position. Despite maybe them thinking you don't have a strength in one area, they still think you're going to be useful to them, so they will give you the position. So you really have to be yourself and be prepared and do just a knockout job in the interview, and I swear it'll take you really far.
Good question. Good question. See? More?
Adding to what Amy said, and in a lot of fields, they train you on site because we all learn theory at school, but when you go to that firm, they have their procedure. They have their way of doing things. Let's say in accounting, I'm taking accounting because I'm an accounting major. I'm doing a business administration degree, my master's degree. But I have a strong background in accounting. And when you go from an accounting firm to another one, you will always find different procedures. So if you, an accounting major, are going to that firm, you will not just apply what you learned from school, but you still need to learn what they do. Similarly, they train those who are not from that area. They all train you together, so they take you from scratch to the finished product they want. So really what you want to sell the most is your communication skills, your interpersonal skills, because that's what they can't train you on that. That's you, that's your uniqueness. The rest, technical things, they definitely can train you because that's how they actually make their own brand, because they have their way of doing things.
Actually, to echo you a little bit, those skill sets she's mentioned are definitely something that you want to emphasize on, but also something that actually helped me sell myself to get the position that I got was a skill set that you are able to learn on your feet. If you're able to pick up a new skill set relatively easily and they can see that based on your interview, you're gold. They'll take you. And that's actually a lot of what got me in the door. I was able to demonstrate for them, yes, like I have the ability to learn this by showing them this is the example of a job that I had before. I picked up a new skill set right away. I started training other trainees at the time, and they were very impressed by that. And since this job demands a lot of different things at different times, they saw that as a very valuable piece of information in hiring me.
Pretty interesting, huh? So let's talk a little bit about the interview that you all had. How did that go?
Mine was, like I said, I did it over spring break. So I was home and I don't live in Chicago, I live in the suburbs. So I took the train in. I was so excited. I was all dressed up and going downtown to the interview. It's nerve-wracking, but, I did a lot of prior research, and I took an interviewing class, actually, in the School of Communication. It offers an intro to interviewing class, which I would recommend taking even if you're not in the School of Communication. It was wonderful. It really taught me a lot about good interview skills. So I showed my passion, and I think that's what my boss told me later is her main reason for really choosing me. And she said there was over 100 applicants for 4 internship positions. So all of us proved our passion for not just the station, not even the White Sox, just for wanting to be there and wanting to have this experience. So, you just have to really, that's what I think is the most important, is proving that you want it. Because they're not going to take you if you don't want it. So.
My story is actually very similar to that. Driving back up, I was all dressed up, had my full suit and everything, but I was pretty nervous at the same time. And I had actually coached with the training academy the 2 summers previous to that. So I knew a lot of the people there already, but I was still nervous because it was in such a professional setting, and it was a big deal to get this internship. So I went in. Before then, I had done a mock interview here at the Career Center, and I would advise that to everyone. That helped me tremendously. It helped me prepare for it, to get in that professional setting of someone asking you these questions that you don't know what question is going to come at you next, and you have to be able to think on your toes and give them a quick and accurate answer. So that helped me tremendously. And like I said, I would advise that for everybody here. But my interview went great. My supervisor talked to me afterwards as well. A couple months into the internship, said that he thought I did the best job out of everyone, and there was also over 100 applicants for 5 positions. He said I was very professional, very well prepared, and I give a lot of that credit to the Career Center here. And they actually did tell me a funny story. I went in with a full suit and everything, and personally I thought that was normal for everyone who would be interviewing, but apparently I was the only one who showed up in a full suit. But they said that really impressed them.
That's right.
And they showed me how much I wanted it and how serious I was. So I would advise that, even though I ended up being the only one who did it at my internship, my interview.
Better be overdressed than
exactly.
underdressed.
Exactly.
And one of the other things that Kyle probably showed was his uniqueness and his ability to stand out. And that was what was important. And I will also have to say that when Kyle came into my office after he had gotten this interview, he was very excited. He was still excited. Okay?
Very true.
Yeah.
Very
And
true.
and that means a lot. And he took that with him into that internship. And that's what Amy is talking about the passion. So those are things that are very important. Lauren.
Well, actually, a guy I went to high school with, his mother was the owner of the daycare. So I got my foot in the door that way. But it was the actual director that I had to go through. So I had sent her my resume, which Miss Pam critiqued, and it was great. But I got there thinking okay, they know me already. I'll just go in there, smile, and I'll get the job. She was like, okay, so here you have this listed. Tell me about it. So I had to talk about myself, and luckily I'm good at talking about myself. But sometimes people freeze up when you have to explain why you're capable of getting the job, or when somebody just puts you on the spot, you had this down on your resume, tell me about it. And I mean, she was picking stuff that I didn't even know I still had on there. So I was like, oh, I did do that. Okay, well, let me tell you about this. So, I mean, I didn't expect to have an interview. I went there dressed, but I just thought they were going to be okay, well, here's the paperwork. So you never know. Sometimes the way people set things up, you'll think you got it in the bag and they hit you, but you got to be ready. But otherwise, I think I do overall, I think I do well, because I try to just set it they're people, I'm people, let me just talk to them, because sometimes you get so worked up, oh my goodness, if you just be yourself, they know that regardless of, you can go in there and talk all the jargon that you want, but if you can't show who you really are as a person, you're probably not going to get the job. So you have to be comfortable. Sorry, I got this in my mouth. You have to be comfortable in who you are and what you bring to the table, because I knew that I would be excellent for the position, so I just made sure that everything that I answered would show that. So I wasn't going to sit there and be unsure or get nervous. And also, if you don't know what you're going to say, Like, it's okay to just stop and think versus stumbling over your words and things like that. Because it was a girl who was before me, and she did that, and I just heard them, like, scoring her afterwards, and that's not good. Just start throwing it out there.
So thank you, the three of you, and we'll get right to you, Steve, for the shameless plugs for the Career Center, mock interviews, resume reviews. Thank you. Okay, Steve.
I would definitely have to echo all three of you on all of your sentiments. Again, echoing what I said earlier, though, going into the interview, definitely the thing that they valued most was demonstrating that I could learn on the spot different skill sets. They were going, when I took a day off actually from classes that spring to go up for the interview. And again, you know, some people, it's a bit of a hike sometimes, or even just taking a day off of classes seems kind of like a bad idea sometimes, but it's obviously worth it in the long term. I've had a summer internship, most of which was paid, and it was a great experience that has led me down a great career path, at least thus far. But as far as, what do you call it? Yeah, learning on the job is definitely was the key for mine. And then going in through the interview, I was interviewed by my boss and then her boss, the city administrator. And again, as Lauren was saying, they'll pick all sorts of very interesting things off your resume that you weren't expecting to have to explain. And they, again, also as she said, they would really rather you pause for a second, kind of get a second to collect your thoughts, and then speak on the topic very clearly rather than just plow on through and stumbling through it. It shows a good sense of professionalism that you're able to recognize that you need a moment, also that you're willing to take the time then to answer them in a clear and concise manner.
Any questions now? What about the people in the back? I'm not leaving you guys out back there. No questions, huh?
I don't really have a question, but just what's one piece of advice that you could give us all?
Excellent.
About like the internship or an interview or just overall?
Just kind of overall in general with just finishing up the last 2 years of college and all the options that you have.
I would say, just going out and trying to get an internship. Like I said, I'm in the School of Communication, and it wasn't required for me to have an internship. I've had 2. And they both have given me excellent experiences, and like I said, it proved to me that I love radio now, and I never thought I did. So, I learned a new career path through an internship. So, it's not required, but just get one, and it's gonna be kind of hard, and it's gonna be work, but it's really worth it. And I think everybody should really try to get one.
Good advice.
I would say, if you are going to go out and get an internship, find something that you love to do. I believe you mentioned that earlier. If it's something you love to do and you don't mind going to do it every day, it makes it so much easier being there. If you go and it's something you're kind of so-so about, you may be miserable at that experience, and that's not something you want, because then you won't get the most out of it because you won't put the most into it. So my advice would be, in getting an internship, find something that you love to do and something that you're passionate about. For me, I've always been passionate about basketball, and that's why I went to this internship with the Bulls Sox Training Academy, because I knew it was all about sports, it was about basketball. So that really helped me being there.
For me, just how you was talking about, like, wrapping up the 2 years, I always thought that I was going to be a teacher. That was always just something that I was like, okay, I'm going to be a teacher. But as I got into college and I started taking more classes, experiencing different things through the clubs that I've been in, I realized I have a lot more interest and that there's majors here for that. So I applied for WGCI, which is a radio station. I applied for an internship there. I actually got to the second round of interviews, but I decided to take one in my field. But I'm going to apply again this summer. I mean, I like music, so I'm like, I get to meet artists. I mean, opportunities really are, like, and here you can do anything at school. It doesn't matter if you have an interest and you're able to articulate that to whoever the employer is or the internship coordinator, you got a good chance at getting it. Like, you need skill sets, but if you can go in there and, like, I'll do whatever I have to do in order to be this person for you, but I really want this job or I want this internship, you can get it. You have to really be passionate. Like, it doesn't matter, because with education, I told you, I didn't need an internship, but I wanted one. I got to came to college. Everybody gets internships, so I figured I just pick different ones. I've done different things every summer, and so I'm really going. Hope you guys will hear me on the radio sometime if you go to Chicago, because I really want to do that. So don't feel like you have to. If your major doesn't require you to do that, feel free to just come here. See what type of internships they have. Enjoy yourself, because now a lot of times they'll pay you, and you can do them here. You can do them back home. Have fun, because now I feel like I'm about to graduate, and I have to really pick something. So now that you're here, make sure you do all you can, so you can see. You might end up doing something that you would have never thought. And so, yeah.
Definitely piggybacking on Lauren a lot was be very open to the experience. Both of the first two talked about, pick something that you're passionate about and get yourself into it. But by the same token, if you find yourself in something that you're not so sure about, like I did, the urban planning thing was kind of a relatively new idea when I got into the field and got into the internship. Be open to the experience, because what I found was I was balancing a kind of a marketing idea with an urban planning idea, and I found that I liked the good mix of the two. But I also found that I liked the marketing portion more than I thought I ever did. I actually have found myself moving more into a marketing career now as opposed to an urban planning career. I've actually kind of ditched the idea of going after a graduate degree technically, or at least for right now, to pursue a marketing career, because the marketing career that I found in this kind of PR-ish type route is something I enjoy. I've actually obtained myself another internship working for Noodles & Company here in town as their marketing specialist, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. So, again, you find what you can get out of an internship. It may not be something that you're passionate about, but if you can then, pick the pieces of it that you really like and go try and find those somewhere else, that might lead you down the path that you're looking for.
Good advice. Good advice. So, of all of you sitting here, when we do this again, who can I call on to be on the panel? Yeah. So you want to think about that. And one of the reasons that, and there were many students that, that have had internships, but when I talked to these four, I knew the passion, and I knew that they would be good at it. And that's another thing that they probably brought back from their internship. Let me tell you about how great I thought this internship was. And knowing these students before, I just met Kyle, and now he's going to graduate. So I've already decided that he's coming back to be on the alumni roundtable, because I see the passion that he has for what he does. Amy works in the Career Center as a student assistant, so I know we'll keep up with her. And Lauren, I've known throughout the years that she's been here, and I know how active she is on this campus. And I know that those kinds of things are what brought her to her internship experiences, because she brought those kinds of things with her when she did her internship. And Steve, I've known throughout the years as well. And so that passion that he displays, what I like about what he says is he determined, it's marketing that I like, and it's more of it that I like. So you get to learn a lot of things from an internship, and it's not just the academic part, although that is very important. Don't get me wrong, it's very important, because for credit internship, you're getting a grade. So yes, that is very, very important. It's also, though, important what you learn about yourself and what you take with you into back to school, as well as with you into your career, and with you all into that internship fair next Friday, okay? So now you know how you want to approach people. The recruiters, I've got back on the table, and I think you all probably did pick up the 30-minute commercial, because when you meet people, you want to be able to say, hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Tell me about yourself.
Well, my name is Brittany Mullen. I'm a business admin major, and
see, and we can't stop there, because she's got more, I can tell. She's been all interested in the conversation and everything, so I know she's got more. But those are the kinds of things that you want to start to think about and be prepared for next Friday. And think about all the things that our wonderful panel has said, and take that with you as well. Thank you all so much for coming. Are there any last words, any last questions? Because we've got like 4 minutes. 3. Now here comes Dave. 3.
Okay,
So we can all see that internships are great. It's great for experience, it's great for networking, it's great to meet new people. And another piece of advice that we can also give you is try to start looking for your internship ahead of time. Do not look for it when you need it next month, because most of the time, I can tell you 90% of the time you will not get anything, because most of the companies start looking for the potential interns a whole year before the actual internship occurs. The internship fair that we're going to have next week, a lot of companies will be recruiting for summer 2011. So keep that in mind. Even if it's not just for this fair, anywhere else that you're applying for a job, try to plan ahead of time, give you months ahead of time when you do your search for internships. Not only to prepare, but also to make sure that you can get that internship within that time frame when you want to start it. So next week we have that internship fair, but also get on e-recruiting, because that's also where a lot of employers might post their applications for their internship. You can keep up with when they start getting applications for the resumes and cover letter applications and such. So check our website, call us, come by, and we can help you getting ready for that. We can critique your resume. It's happening every week. We can conduct mock interviews, as these ones have taken advantage of it, and we're here to help. So this is going to close our session today. We hope to see you for the other events. The Career Week is all week long, and we'd like to thank you again for coming and sharing your experience with us, and thank you for participating.